Coming up in this episode of Southern Newsweek, some of the world's fastest fighting jets prepare to fly over Wanaka. Stewart Island anticipates a new title of being a dark sky sanctuary, and Dunedin punk rockers deface Dunedin street art. Hello, I'm Melissa Barton. Those attending Warbirds over Wanaka were treated to a flyover by a US Air Force F-16 fighter jet. Because the runway in Wanaka is too short for an F-16 to land, the plane was based at Christchurch International Airport. The South Today met up with one of the pilots.
Normally based at Misawa Air Force Base in Japan, these F-16 Fighting Falcons are visiting New Zealand with 3 pilots and 17 ground crew. With each plane costing up to $25 million, these single-pilot jets are flown by the best of the best, and for Captain Jake Impellizzeri, the job was his preferred choice.
So, I did a ROTC, it's Reserve Officer Training Corps program in college, and it's a 4-year program, and coming out of that program you list what you want to do in the military, and my number one was a pilot. And so it's fairly competitive out there, and I ended up getting my number one choice out of there. And then you go to pilot training for about 2 years, and out of pilot training is where you get to choose what aircraft you want to fly based on what's available in the United States. And I got the F-16.
You got your number one choice.
Number one, the Viper, yeah.
Not only capable of flying over 50,000 feet in altitude, these aircraft are also famous for their speed and manoeuvrability, which can exert extreme G-force pressure on the pilot.
During the years where you're training to be a fighter pilot, you go to the centrifuge. So they put you in one of those balls that spin you around really fast to prep for the G-forces from there. We also get these special G-suits we have to wear. So basically they're special pants that are filled with air bladders that plug into the F-16. So when we pull G's, the air bladders inflate, and that helps keep the blood flowing through the body and the blood up in the brain, so you don't pass out, which would be bad.
An F-16 will perform a flyover at Wanaka. Getting there from Christchurch will be a half-hour cruise at just under 30,000 feet.
From here to Wanaka is about 160 miles, and it takes about 30 minutes up there. We'll get into the high 20s to save a little bit of gas.
Despite the infamous saber-rattling of the US President, Captain Impellizzeri says the planes are intended more as a deterrent, and their mission for the weekend is to entertain the crowds.
We are combat ready fighter pilots, but we're here to show off this awesome aircraft, best aircraft in the fleet.
Warbirds over Wanaka is on this Easter, with an F-16 scheduled to fly over just before 2 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
And the actual Warbirds over Wanaka International Airshow was a great success, with a few more tales added to its colourful 30-year history.
Good Friday saw plenty of practice flights for this year's Warbirds over Wanaka Airshow. Catalina flying boat captain Brett Emeny was looking forward to being back in Wanaka again.
We had a lot of good fun landing on Lake Wanaka last year. Last Warbirds we did about 20 lake landings, but beautiful, gorgeous place, scenery, couldn't get a nicer place to operate a flying boat.
One of the slower rides at Wanaka was a pre-war 1930s de Havilland Domine biplane piloted by Adam Butcher.
It's probably one of my favourite aircraft to fly. It's very harmonised. You're sitting in a twin-engine aircraft, which is unusual. It's usual that you have a pilot, co-pilot. Here you've just got one seat, so everything that the aircraft does is around you, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, very harmonised. It's a delightful ride. It's relatively slow, so for the passengers they get to see nice scenery, and it's a good all-round aeroplane.
Another historic plane was one of the first airliners in New Zealand, a Fox Moth piloted by Lachlan Falconer.
It's nice to fly a piece of heritage like this, you know. She's 85 years old and first airliner on the West Coast, or first airliner in New Zealand, and she's still flying today.
10 minutes into the actual show on Saturday, veteran pilot Arthur Dovey grazed a parked cherry picker with his 1940s Yak 3. While the right wing and undercarriage were badly damaged, the pilot was unharmed. Other than Saturday's mishap, the two air shows progressed smoothly, from elegant formation flying to the much-anticipated F-16 jet passes, which were conducted at a speed much slower than maximum so as to avoid the window-shattering sonic boom. While the theme was mostly military aircraft, a skydiving duo put on a less motorised display. A United States Air Force C-17 Globemaster rumbled overhead, and acrobatic planes and helicopters performed dizzying manoeuvres over the appreciative crowd. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Stewart Island's world-class night skies could attract stargazers and aurora hunters from around the world. The island could be classified as a certified international dark sky sanctuary by early next year. Sharon Rees reports.
Spectacular views of the aurora australis, such as this from Ocean Beach in Bluff, is precisely the reason Venture Southland saw an opportunity for a dark sky sanctuary in Southland. The organisation has been measuring the quality of Southland skies and say the stargazing is some of the best in the world.
We've done this right throughout Southland and Invercargill and environs, and what we've found is that the night sky quality is world class. It's outstanding, from northern Southland to Fiordland to Catlins and Stewart Island. And it turns out that the Stewart Island community are very interested in this particular project and have been strong advocates for it.
Kenny says the project naturally fits the island's name and image, Rakiura, or glowing skies, and Stewart Island residents are backing the idea.
We've just undertaken some survey work and lo and behold, 92% of the respondents are in favour of the dark sky sanctuary idea. And after a couple of workshops in December, we also had 100% support from those people who attended those workshops. So it looks very positive at this point.
In order to gain sanctuary status, the island must be free of light pollution. But Kenny says to achieve that, it may be as simple as switching to LED street lighting. He said the best stargazing is on the shoulder periods of the traditional tourist season, which would extend tourist stays on the island.
It means that hotels and motels can be utilised in the off-season. The viewers that come often are people who appreciate nature, they appreciate pristine environment, and they're also willing to wait to get the right experience.
$16,000 of funding was approved for the application this week, and a decision about the sanctuary status is expected before January next year. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
Several pieces of Dunedin street art have been defaced. A signal box in North Dunedin and the Bath Street mural of UK singer Ed Sheeran, both with the word coyote being written on the art. Now it appears the amateur artists have scribbled on another legitimate artwork.
It would seem the young men with a passion for the name Coyote have struck again. Back in February, a Dunedin artist was annoyed that her work featuring Dunedin band The Chills had been painted over in an amateurish fashion, especially as she believed people closely related to the band sent her the footage of them doing it, while claiming it wasn't them.
I just crossed out a lie and wrote the truth, bro.
Then last month, on the eve of Ed Sheeran's arrival in Dunedin, the $8,000 Tyler Kennedy Stent mural of the UK pop singer had the words Coyote F.U. added in green paint in a remarkably similar style to the previous effort. And over the Easter weekend, the words Ed is dead, spelt incorrectly, long live Coyote, were painted under the Pixel Pancho painting of a mechanical horse on the side of the Chipmunks building on Princes Street. Police are making inquiries with people in the areas and are checking to see if there is any CCTV footage available. Police are asking if members of the public witnessed anything suspicious or have information in regards to these incidents to please contact the Dunedin Police Station. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, environmentalists explore the coastline of a Christchurch estuary, and a private health centre in Queenstown acquires a new MRI scanner. Welcome back to Southern Newsweek. The issues of water quality and swimmable rivers are topics of much discussion in Canterbury. One action group is drawing attention to the quality of waterways with guided walks along the Christchurch estuary. The South Today joined them on a stroll over Easter weekend.
Easter Sunday saw a group of environmentally conscious people walking the 15-kilometre route around the Avon Heathcote estuary in Christchurch. Estuaries and lagoons are often seen as muddy areas of wasteland, but actually they are very important in the food chain, not only for bird life, but also as nurseries for the smaller fish that feed the bigger fish out at sea. Mark Gibson founded the group Walk for the Planet, and he points out that the quality of the water flowing into an estuary is important too.
This estuary is so important, and what happens in this estuary, the health of this estuary depends on the health of the rivers flowing into it, and we know that our city rivers are not in good health.
This weekend's walk was a continuation of last March and April, where Cantabrians walked along 7 iconic local rivers to raise awareness of the disappointing quality of Canterbury's waterways.
That's what our walk is about today. It's to keep walking, keep this issue before us and in the public eye, that our waterways need us to be advocates for them, and if we don't look after our waterways, everyone is affected.
Further walks are planned for later in the year along Lake Ellesmere and Lake Forsyth, 2 of New Zealand's most polluted lakes. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The New Zealand Secondary Schools Canoe Slalom Championships finished up in Hawea recently. The 3-day event concluded with an extreme slalom competition. The South Today was there.
An extreme slalom competition capped off this year's New Zealand Secondary Schools Canoe Slalom Championships at Hawea's Whitewater Park in central Otago. Each of the extreme slalom races had 4 competitors navigate numerous gates suspended over the river, plus the mandatory performance of an Eskimo roll. The 3-day competition attracted 87 kayakers from 16 schools around New Zealand, plus a team from Australia. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Patients in Queenstown Lakes and Central Otago needing an MRI scan are finally able to access the service in Queenstown. A $2 million MRI scanner is now set up as part of a new specialist medical facility in Frankton. Mina Amso has more.
A first for Queenstown, this $2 million MRI scanner is a step forward towards specialist medical treatment in Queenstown, according to Charge MRT manager Citrice Smith.
It's just so much easier for people to come to Queenstown and have their scans. So, yeah.
Patients from the Queenstown Lakes and Central Otago areas won't have to travel to Invercargill or Dunedin anymore. They can come here to Frankton to get their MRI scan done. Smith says they've had a steady average of around 10 patients a day using the MRI service. That's about 300 patients since opening late February. Although they operate as a private facility, Pacific Radiology are keen to provide an MRI service for the DHB in Queenstown, as it has done in other towns. However, details are yet to be finalised with the DHB.
As far as I know, that is a possibility.
Pacific Radiology operates across the South Island, including Wanaka and Timaru. Managing Director James Fulton says MRI scans are becoming an essential tool in battling bowel, breast and prostate cancer. The scanner is the first part of a $30 million specialist medical facility being established at the remarkable Spark Town Centre in Frankton, with the centre also offering patients ultrasound and mammogram facilities. Breast Screen Otago Southland provides breast screening services all year round at the new centre. Mina Amso, The South Today.
One of the prizes at the recent Mackenzie Young Farmers Bar Cup competition was taken by 9-year-old Flynn Nurse and his pet dog Belle. The South Today met up with the pair.
The Gladstone pub in Fairlie was recently resounding to dogs being encouraged to bark on command as part of the Mackenzie Young Farmers Bark Up competition. The event saw Flynn Nurse's trusty companion Belle bark well enough to take away the prize for youngest competitor. Flynn and Belle have developed a bond which helped their entry into the competition, where dogs are judged on volume, consistency, as well as stopping barking on command. It is hoped that next year's competition will see more young people involved. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Still to come on Southern Newsweek, former rugby player Richie McCaw takes on a new job as a milk delivery boy, and a former Dunedin punk rocker reinterprets a classical Greek play. Welcome back. Former All Black captain Richie McCaw has taken on a new job as milk delivery boy for Fonterra. One of his jobs this week was to deliver milk to the pupils of Dunedin's Fairfield School by helicopter. The South Today was there for the spectacle.
It's not every day that a helicopter lands on the playing fields of Fairfield School, but that is exactly what happened today when Richie McCaw turned up to deliver milk to the enthusiastic pupils waiting at the edge of the rugby pitch. 37-year-old McCaw is well known as the former captain of the New Zealand rugby team, but today he was visiting in the role of his new job as ambassador for Fonterra, who proudly operate a Milk for Schools program.
Really cool, to see. You know, it's a voluntary thing that Fonterra do, to 140,000 kids every day. That's a big commitment, and the farmers who are the shareholders, I know that they realise that, but they're hugely proud of it. And I guess from my point of view, just to help sort of tell the story of that, that's what I'm, keen and proud to be able to do in this promotion, to be able to, drop into some schools like this. It's pretty cool. We've been all over the country. Seeing a smile on the face, see all these kids, amazing, a couple of hours can make a big, have quite an impact, which is really cool.
McCaw grew up in the rural town of Kurau, and his helicopter journey south rekindled memories of the bigger towns nearby.
I came past Oamaru, used to be the local sort of town we used to go to, so it's all sort of, I guess, places that I grew up sort of around that area, and it's a while ago that I was down at school down here, but nice to come back.
Following musical entertainment and a speech from McCaw,
I was going to have a lasting memory of playing rugby, that was going to be it, and
some of the pupils got a chance to show their prowess at the gumboot toss.
1, 2, 3, right, go.
Fonterra's Milk in Schools program is said to supply free milk to 70% of New Zealand primary schools. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
If you own or like utility vehicles, this next story is one for you. The west coast town of Hokitika held its first ute muster over Easter weekend. Over 100 utes and four-wheel drive trucks took part in the event. The South Today joined the crowds for the parade.
Hokitika's inaugural South Island Ute Muster attracted over 100 vehicles during the Easter event. Drizzle on Saturday failed to put off the parade through the centre of town, which was followed with a show and shine display at Hokitika Racecourse. Hokitika Mayor Bruce Smith was thrilled with the turnout for the parade.
Now I woke up this morning, got out into the deck, pouring down. I thought, oh no. So I thought I'd better refer to the wet weather plan. Then I realised we didn't have one. But we turned up there, and the vehicles, the utes, come from everywhere. It would be the longest parade I've seen in Hokitika, and so very, very exciting. So we're looking at next year. Won't be at Easter. We'll be changing the date, and I think it'll grow. I think it'll grow to probably as big as, if not bigger than, Wild Foods Festival.
The 4-day event started on the Friday with quarter-mile time trials and a 4-wheel drive challenge.
Oh, it's been a cracker of a weekend. We had time trials up at the airport. We've had a great big mud plug down here in the infield of the racecourse over Saturday. Great big 11-piece band from all locals that most people didn't even know existed. And a DJ on last night. A lot of people there very happy to be here for the very first day of the very first South Island Ute Muster.
Hokitika resident Ray Tailby joined up with her ute after learning about the event through social media.
I'm from Hokitika here, just down in Canary, and Facebook actually. The Ute Muster came up on that, and I thought, yep, that sounds like a bit of me. So, you know, local ute, tradie ute, chicks ute, and yeah, just followed the Facebook and brought my tickets online, and apparently I was the first Hokitika person to buy tickets online, so I was pretty proud of that, and super happy to support this local initiative. Actually, it's really good to see these sorts of things happening and building up in Hoki. It's great.
And with this being the West Coast, pronged antlers were sometimes sported as hood ornaments.
From Kotarangi, I'm a dairy farmer from out there, and there was, well, I got involved just for the advertising, I suppose, by Ute Muster, and we got the bullock heads from Kotarangi, and the deer head was shot from out there too. And so I thought I'd put it on the ute, just to be a bit different.
Other activities over the weekend included a drive up the scenic highway to Westport with a stop-off at Punakaiki. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Homer's classic The Iliad has probably been performed countless times around the globe at all levels of professional and amateur theatre. One of the latest reworkings is An Iliad, which features an actor and his muse both telling the story with words and sounds in a bar.
The guy at the bar has quite a story to tell. Actor Michael Hurst and Dunedin musician Shane P. Carter, captured here in rehearsal recently, play off each other in the Fortune Theatre's production of An Iliad. Directed by Jonathan Hendry, Michael Hurst is a classics scholar, having directed or starred in Greek tragedies and comedies.
So yeah, I've got quite a lot of familiarity with Greek material, and also I studied classics, so I'm very I love it, so I'm quite au fait with it all, yeah.
Hurst says Homer's epic masterpiece, The Iliad, is condensed, and they hope to present an evening of exciting theatre.
It's like the coalescence of all of the central story of Achilles and Hector and the terrible rage. The first line of Homer is Menin, rage, sing the rage of Achilles, which causes all the problems, cost the Achaeans countless losses, hurling down to the house of death so many sturdy souls, great fighters' souls, but made their bodies carrion for the dogs and birds. What drove them to fight with such a fury?
Michael Hurst is accompanied on stage by his muse, influential Dunedin musician Shane P. Carter, who provides an audio canvas.
I was asked to come and do it, and yeah, it really appealed to me, the idea of trying something different, and working with Michael, that's a nice thing to try as well. And yeah, I like working with different disciplines, and I like if people who I work with from different disciplines are completely into it and committed to it, well, I can only respect that. So I enjoy working with people like that, yeah, and like I say, people from different areas, it's good, yeah.
Opening this week, the gents promise a highly contemporary take on one of the oldest surviving pieces of theatre. Fortune Theatre marketing manager Hannah Malloy says they're trialling a new initiative designed to allow more people to experience live theatre.
So we've decided to launch a pay what you can and a pay it forward ticketing initiative. There's sort of two things at the opposite end of the spectrum. The pay what you can is available for one show in the run of each season, and people can basically pay anything from $3 up to $100, depending entirely on what fits into their budget.
Malloy says the Pay It Forward scheme allows those with disposable income who wish to purchase extra tickets to do so, which then go into a pool and are available for people who want to see a show but can't afford to. An Iliad opens at the Fortune on April 7th. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
That's all from our news team this week. You can go online and check us out on Facebook, or you can keep up with Southern News via our website, YouTube and channel39.co.nz. I'm Melissa Barton and thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.